Hi, friends. This is Wendy Harrop, and welcome to the Say Yes to Yourself podcast. On the Say Yes to Yourself podcast, you'll hear stories from women just like us who are adding the practice of saying yes in their daily lives in big and small ways, and as a result, are experiencing the truth that everybody wins when you say yes to yourself. Saying yes to yourself is a graceful unfolding, an intentional becoming of the very best version of you. It is my hope that in these conversations, we are able to find our truth and be inspired and empowered to live our very best lives. I'm so excited to go on this journey with you, and I look forward to finding a bit of our own story in each other's. Hello, friend. Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you are having a fantastic week. Happy Friday. It is all happy, joy over here. I'm leaving for France in a couple of days. My writer in residence has arrived, which, by the way, did you know you could do that? Did you know that you can be an artist in residence or a writer in residence or a poet in residence and spend an extended period of time at the Phineas Wright House, holding beautiful space for yourself and for your creative efforts, and leave on the other side with the needle significantly moved toward your end product? Isn't that amazing? So my beautiful writer in residence will be here for the month while I am in France, and she's going to be living her best farm life. I'm going to be living my best French life, and everybody wins. It's so good. We've got all the outfits picked out for my time away. I will be posting my flat packing video tonight as a part of Favorite Fridays. This is just a good day to listen. There is some good energy in here, which, I feel like we're bringing that all the time, you and I, but oh my word, when I tell you about today's guest, she's so freaking cool and so amazing. I have no words. See, that rarely happens, as you know. This was such a phenomenal conversation, and I have been talking about her ever since. Today, we have the unbelievable Judy Henderson. She is the author of a new book, When the Light Finds Us. Judy Henderson was a single mother with a successful small business of her own when she was arrested and convicted of a crime she did not commit. Sentenced to life in prison, Henderson faced the untenable, leaving her young children as she entered the brutal prison system. Even as she faced violence and mistreatment, Henderson persevered with hope and determination. She never lost sight of her innocence or her deeply held role as a mother. She also gained new purpose, fighting for her clemency and for the rights of incarcerated women, especially mothers. As the years passed, Henderson experienced hope through serendipitous events and calls, letters, and too infrequent visits with her children and other family. With the support of the prosecutor who once sought her conviction and the governor of Missouri, Henderson was granted clemency and received a full pardon, wait for it, after nearly 35 years behind bars. Can you even? My gosh, you guys. And she is the most beautiful, light-filled, joyous woman. Oh my word. Her book, When the Light Finds Us, is a gripping narrative that explores the depths of human resilience and the transformative power of hope. Henderson's story will inspire readers to persevere through their own struggles, reminding us of the strength of the human spirit and the unbreakable bond of a mother's love. In a world often filled with darkness, Judy Henderson's journey is a beacon of light, illuminating the path to redemption and the triumph of justice. Buckle up, my friends. You are in for such a treat. here is the fabulous Judy Henderson. Judy, I have to tell you, and I've already told you a little bit, I am authentically this delighted, as you can see on my face, to
Yes.
have this conversation. There are just some people that you are introduced to or through another person. And as soon as you hear about them, you say, yes, yes, I want to talk to them. Yes, I want to know them. Yes, I need to hear more information. And for me, you are that kind of person. So thank
Oh,
you so much for being here.
you are so welcome, Wendy. I just love your energy. I love being on your show. And I'm excited for us to have this great conversation.
Ah, thank you. And I feel like even in that answer, I just got a glimpse of why I'm so excited to talk to you because this is a really beautiful compliment that my now ex-husband, but then almost boyfriend gave to me many 27 years ago.
Okay.
Your face doesn't match your story.
Oh, I
And
I
I
get that.
think, right? And I think
Yeah.
that's what, like, I'm looking at your beautiful face and your beautiful smile and what I read in the bio and what I am looking at. There is a disconnect in the most beautiful, invitational, inspiring way
Thank
that
you.
this is a conversation I want to have.
Thank you. Thank you. Because whenever people hear, or if I'm at a venue or a law school or a church or somewhere to speak, and I'm introduced, when I get up there, they always think that it's going to be about some medical miracle. And so they're sitting there, just waiting to hear what's going to be said. And then I announce where I have been and how many years, and their whole facial expression changes. You know,
Right?
their jaws drop, they sit up straight, their eyes get big, and they're waiting to hear what in the world happened.
Yes,
Why
exactly.
her of where's the tattoos? I don't see and nothing
Right?
against tattoos. People just have the stereotype, you
For
know.
sure. And it's
Mhm.
based on zero experienced
Right.
knowledge. Like it's
Yes.
only just characters that have been introduced to us. So anyway, like I don't want, I mean, I read your bio in the intro, so it's not like we're just dragging people on and they don't know what we're talking about. But let me, for because I feel like this is going to be very engaging. It's already pulled me in. So let me first ask you, how are you saying yes to yourself in this season?
I am saying yes to myself that I do not have to feel any fear. It's
Mm.
okay. I've got this. And I can say yes to myself to be angry when I need to be and still be okay. And I can say yes to myself that I love the woman I have become today.
Love you so much.
Thank you.
That's such a gorgeous sentence. And I echo it. I am obsessed with the woman that I am becoming.
Yes, yes. And it's amazing because it's like you never stop becoming,
Exactly. And she's
you know?
beckoning us, and she's just a few
Yes,
steps ahead, and she's come this
yes,
way. You're going to
yes,
love it. Keep
yes.
going.
Yes, the journey's going to be great. The adventure's going to be great. And you just want to love life
Mm-hmm.
every day, regardless of what it might throw at you or what might cross your path. It's what you make of it that makes your
Right?
day. It's
Yes.
how you
Yes.
choose to look at it.
It's true.
Yeah.
And you saying that has so much more profound power in
Hmm.
it than
Yes.
somebody who, you know, lives on a flower farm in New England.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
like I have a very dreamy life and
Yeah.
I'm still obsessed with the woman I'm becoming and know that I am in charge of
Yes.
how I feel and that happiness is an inside job and all of those things. But I'm so eager to hear how you came to that belief and understanding and knowledge of your own power, or
Okay.
has that always been a practice? Um,
Oh no.
right. So, where do you want to start in this beautiful story?
I think, Wendy, I want to start where I didn't know who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And so many women don't know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes time and it takes patience and it takes resilience and it takes courage to want to find out who you are. Some of us can get so comfortable in the position that we're in of just not having to put any work in or having to figure out which direction they should take and watch the signs along the way. They just want to do,
Right. It's the
and not pay
difference
attention.
between being the deliberate creator of your
Right.
own experience and creating by default.
Correct.
Because we are creating whatever is happening to us, and it's
Correct.
just, are we doing that on purpose with
Right.
intention, or
Yeah.
is it just we're being, I don't want to say lazy because that sounds mean, but
Passive, maybe
yeah,
just,
passive,
yeah,
not
just
not
not look
practicing intention.
right and not looking at red flags when they pop up.
Yeah.
Like that's a stop sign, red, stop, wait.
Right.
You know, pay attention to what's going on here before you take that next turn or that next step. So, and that's what happened to me because I was a battered woman for 12 years
I'm
and we had
sorry.
two children. Yes, I was, but I'll tell you, Wendy, being a battered woman, part of that process of being beat like that, and watching how he did that and feeling that helped save my life when a contract was put out on me.
Mm,
So, geez, how do you say it? It was kind of almost like a blessing in disguise, but one you
totally.
repeat,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
It's like, gosh, I wish I could have figured that out without having that lesson. But I always said life is a school. It's just like a college or anything else. You learn different lessons at different levels, and you either pass or you fail, you know? So I
Right.
got to where I could finally start passing my tests. But I've always said, too, without a test, there's no testimony. Without a message,
Mm,
message.
I love
So,
that.
yeah. So if you really want to find your purpose in life, then you just have to grasp and navigate what your choices were and how you're becoming better because of those choices.
Mm,
Whether you have to look deep inside and start getting your therapy if that's what you need.
hmm.
Start being creative with how you're going to help other people. Because giving back is a big thing that I feel we're created to do.
Sure.
So, because of the journey that led me where I was able to find my purpose. And so many women and men too do not find their purpose. They just live life and
Yeah.
don't find out why they were really created or what their talent is or what it is that they have to share with people to help them, to help others. So, whenever I, divorced my husband after 12 years, I finally had the courage to do that.
Mm.
And
Congratulations.
thank you.
You're
Thank you. I
welcome.
appreciate that because we're wired different whenever you're a battered woman. And we sometimes, our judgment's bad. We feel bad about ourselves. We don't like who we are. We think we're the ugliest thing that walked the earth, which I did. And so I attempted suicide. I was divorced in June, attempted suicide in September,
Mm.
and was in a psychiatric ward for 30 days, 30 to 60 days, and was directed by my doctors to move out of that area because he still would not leave me alone
Mm.
and move down where my family was. So that's what I did. And looking for a new life, creating something different than what I had had in the past. Yet I hadn't received the therapy that I needed to still make or be able to make yet good choices.
Sure.
So there's different kinds of addiction. There's drugs, alcohol, shopping, gambling,
Yep.
My,
busyness.
yeah,
We just
yes.
had we just had a woman on the podcast a couple of weeks ago about talking about that addiction.
Yes, I never thought about that, but that
Mm.
is true. My addiction was love.
Mm.
I am so good in business and things in that arena. However, whenever it came to relationships, I didn't know how to navigate those emotions. You know,
Mm.
how to define what they were, how to love without being a caretaker,
Mm.
how not to love myself first and making me happy before I could really make anybody else happy.
Right.
So my lessons were hard. I ended up, I did do well when I first began moving down there with my family because we're a very close knit family. I'm the oldest of eight. But my mother was also a battered woman. So it was like learned behavior.
Mhm.
You know, I was taught that it's okay. You know, you can still
Mm.
survive it. So it was
Yeah.
learned behavior. I expected somebody to not be kind to me and to be
Mm.
mean. And whenever I was sexually assaulted by a minister, that kind of really seeded a lot of anger that I had never dealt with. My faith just went down the drain.
Sure.
You know, I thought, well, where was God? But he could have changed things, you know, he could have done things differently. But I ended up then buying my own business when I moved down there with my family. And that was in February. We were doing very well, my children and I, my son and daughter. She was 12 and he was 3 at the time.
Mm.
And so I bought a business in February. I met some new friends. We were out having dinner, and I met an associate of theirs, and he and I started dating in April. He was just so kind, so nice, all the things that I hadn't had.
Sure.
And he was so charismatic and so debonair and handsome. And, you know, wore a three-piece suit, was very educated. And I could just see Wendy, a nice house and a little white
Sure.
picket fence around it, and you know the children all playing together. You know these little dreams that we had when we were little girls about
Yep.
what life was going to be, and I could see that with him. And it was like he never got angry because I smiled too much or that I shouldn't wear this or I shouldn't wear that. You
Mm.
know, he wasn't controlling whatsoever, no jealousy. So that was all new and different to me. And he was
Yeah.
very kind. He had been in the ministry at one time and was a real estate broker. And I never saw any signs that would warn me that there was any other personality or any other side to him other than the best side that I saw.
Sure. And would we even be available to see something different?
Yeah,
Right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been, you know,
Right.
I wouldn't have been because I wasn't trained to look for anything like that.
Right. And we're not stupid.
Right.
We
Yeah.
just see what we see and know what we know, and we're doing the best we can with the tools we have.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, we were at a 4th of July party at my aunt's, and she and I were in the pool, and he was up poolside reading a book on manipulation. And hindsight, now I look back
Hmm.
and I think, you know, she asked me, she said, Judy, why is he reading a book on manipulation? And I said, well, he's a real estate broker, so he's selling multi-million dollar properties. So I'm assuming it has something to do with work. Why
Sure.
would I think any different?
Right. And why would you be reading it in front of everybody if I
I
should be
know.
paying attention to this?
Right, right. So flag, you know. I never ask any questions because as a
Right.
bad woman, you really didn't ask questions of your husband, afraid you'd ask the wrong question.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was another something that you did not do.
Mhm.
But there ended up being a dark side to him that was devastating. A murder occurred. It was a situation that I was put into that was not aware that anybody was going to get harmed, anyone was going to get hurt.
Mm.
And the victim ended up getting killed by my co-defendant.
Mm.
We, in the book, When the Light Finds Us, from a life sentence to a life transformed. That's what I received because of what occurred. And I received a life sentence without parole for 50 years, and he was acquitted of everything that he did. So I was devastated. Of course, in the book, we go into detail about everything that occurred and how it happened, how it came about. We did have the same attorney representing both of us, which was a serious constitutional conflict of interest.
Mm-hmm.
But hindsight again, I realize now he only wanted the same attorney so he could sit in on our meetings, so he would know what our strategy is, what our defense was, if he was going to be mentioned on the stand.
Right. And he read the book on manipulation. So
Right.
he
Thank
had
you.
a leg up.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Wendy. It was like, oh my gosh. And little did I know that he was seeing two other criminal attorneys on the side while he was seeing this attorney that we both had. And after I was convicted, he went to trial and he was acquitted.
Oh my gosh.
And you can never be tried twice for the same crime.
Right.
So he walked free. But during whenever I did go to prison, and my family had never been involved with the judicial system or criminal system, jails, prisons, nothing. And being the oldest of eight, that was just, like I said, we were a tight, close-knit family. So I had, of course, all their support. And I ended up staying in prison for 36 years.
Oh my gosh. Even
Yes,
like I already knew that. And still, it's like, oh my gosh.
yes. And
How does that happen?
that's what I wondered, and I was furious. I
Mhm.
mean, I loved my children. My life was dedicated to my children. And my daughter, I had her in dance, I had her in acrobats, I had her in brownies. We did everything together. And she had turned 13 whenever I did go to prison, and my son was still 3 at the time. So, like I said, I met my co-defendant in April. He moved into our home, unbeknownst to me, until I came home one day from picking my son up at the nursery, and his suitcases were sitting in the foyer. And I said, why are your suitcases sitting here? He said, because I just feel like you need somebody to take care of you and the children.
Oh my
I want to
gosh.
help you. I want us to be a family. And of course, that's what I always wanted.
Right.
But I said, I don't have men move in with me, with my children.
Hmm.
He said, but it'll be fine, Judy. It'll be fine. We're going to be a happy family. And
Oh my
so,
gosh, this is a movie. Ah.
yes, yes, I know. I know. Yes. And so then whenever all of this happened, I went to prison and he put a contract out on me there. Yes, somebody that was in the county jail with us. She still stayed there while I went on to prison and they became close.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So he wanted to ensure that I was not going to testify against him. And whenever he put the contract out on me and I found out about it, of course, coming to prison to begin with is a very, very scary situation.
Yes, I can imagine.
Yeah.
That was Amelia's
Yeah.
question, my 11-year-old.
Oh,
I
please
told
ask.
her, I said, oh, I'm interviewing this woman who was wrongfully accused of murder and she served 3 decades in prison.
Mm.
And she's like, oh my gosh, really? I said, yeah. I said, what would you ask her if you were interviewing her? And she was making the bed. She goes, I would ask her, how was that? Like, well, what do you mean? Like, how were the mattresses? How was the food? How was, she's like, yeah, the whole thing. How was that for you? Like,
Ah, good
okay.
question.
I'll ask her.
Good.
How was that? I was like,
Please let her know.
it wasn't a cruise. It wasn't
Right. That's why I said kids are so, they
Right?
come up with the greatest questions.
Right? Like, I think maybe even before she decided, oh my gosh, that's the worst thing I've ever heard. She wants
Yeah.
to know, how was that for you? Before
Yes.
I project what that must have been. I mean, she's so brilliant.
Yes, that is a brilliant question because a lot of people do want to know what is prison like. You sleep on an inch mattress on steel beds. And if you go to the whole or solitary confinement, it's a concrete bed, solitary is, and behind two steel doors. And you do have it's called a wet cell. You have a sink and a stool in there. And you're fed through a hole in the door, on a tray. And you don't see, and whenever they say you don't see sunlight, that's basically
Mm.
true. I mean, I had a window in solitary confinement up at the top, close to the ceiling. So you can't see out. And so that is something that can play very heavy on your mind. You have to have a strong mind to be able to live in that kind of a small space.
Were you in solitary confinement to protect you from this hit, or were you in solitary confinement because you got in trouble?
No, I was in solitary confinement because there was an officer that we had, a property officer, that the only way you could get your property is if you did sexual favors for him.
Oh, honey.
And a lot of the women came to me and told me about him and was crying about it and, just didn't feel like they could cope anymore. And because he was doing these things to him. And I was already furious
Mm-hmm.
and angry, Wendy. So I
For
was going
sure.
right
Right. It's
to
like, what are
take
you gonna
this
do?
on.
Throw me in jail? Like,
Yeah,
I'm here.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So I had to figure out how to stop this, how
Yeah.
to for this not to happen, not to continue to happen, because he would not want to try that with me. I
Yeah.
was already angry enough. So I wrote grievances about it. I tried to talk to staff about it. But back then it was like the good old boy system. All the staff had each other's backs.
Mm.
And they just turned a blind eye to it. But now there was some staff that went by the rules that were great. We went by the rules, they went by the rules, so that's how it's supposed to be. It's what's good for one is good for the other. So I figured, okay, the only way this is going to come to light and end is somebody's going to have to physically see this that's going to take it serious.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wore contacts at that time, and we didn't have contact solution in our commissary, in our canteen, which
Mm.
is our store. So our families could send us supplies such as that in. And so he would have to call me down there to the property room to give me those items. And so it just all worked out right. I was going down there, walking down the hall to the property room, and I saw a function unit manager, which is higher up than a caseworker, and very well respected, went by the rules, and he was coming my direction. And
Mm.
just all of a sudden, kid, I started thinking, okay, what can I do?
Yeah.
What can I do? And so I had this idea when I go in the property room, don't shut the door, leave it open.
Mm-hmm.
And so I rushed in there pretty quick. And I said, okay, I'm here to pick up my saline solution and what I need for my contacts. And he said, well, okay, if I give this to you, what are you going to do for me? And so quickly I said, whatever you want me to, because I knew the timing was going to be right, that he was going to look and see in that door. And
Awesome.
sure enough, it worked. And he reached over and he pulled me into him and kissed me. And I thought, got you, got you.
Awesome.
And so I turned around and I just quietly walked up to my unit where I was living. And it wasn't 10 minutes later, I was called to the warden's office. So there was the warden, the assistant warden, the investigator, the property room officer, and the function unit manager. And then, of course, myself. And, everybody was there. And they said, "Okay, Judy, can you please tell us what just happened in the property room?" And I said, "I sure can." I said, "Fred reached over and grabbed me and kissed me." And he jumped up and he said, "I did not, I did not." I said, "Yes, you did." And I blurted out, "I want to take a PSE, which is a stress test with your voice."
Mm.
And they said, "You're willing to do that?" I said, "Absolutely." And then, the function unit manager, he said he did witness this. So they allowed me to take the PSE and I passed. He refused to take it, but he was given early retirement. So
He
at
was.
least he was gone.
Mm-hmm.
He was gone. But even though I was telling the truth and I passed a test, I still was taken to solitary confinement for that.
Mm.
And and then they shipped me to Arizona for 4 years, where they sent all inmates from other prisons around the United States that were incorrigible to that prison because it's in the desert. And that's where all the bad girls went.
You're incorrigible. Oh my
I
gosh.
know.
I'm like, ooh, I can't wait till someone calls me incorrigible. Like, that is the new queen.
Yeah, yes, yes. And I got to be kidding
Mm.
me. And so they wanted me away from my family that I had all my support from. And because we would question other rules and stuff,
Sure.
treatment of other inmates, and my mother would get involved and call a senator or a state rep, about what was going on. So they wanted me not only out of the prison, they wanted me out of the state.
Right. Like, and forget that I don't belong here. But now that
Oh,
I'm here, my investigative reporter hat is on, and
yes,
you're
yes,
welcome. You're
yes,
welcome because now you get to know everything. And now I'm
yes,
being sent somewhere else. Ooh.
yes, exactly. And so I went to Arizona for 4 years, but I'll tell you what, Wendy, that was the best thing that could have happened to me. Because for one, my mother sent my sister and two brothers to live out there. So I still have family. Hello.
Oh, I want to interview your mom for the podcast now because I
I
love her
know.
too.
I know. Yes, she was such a blessing. She was my rock.
Mm,
She helped me
I
survive
bet.
what I went through. And, it's heartbreaking because I know it really hurt her and all she had to go through and the pain of not knowing if I was okay.
Right.
But I tried to be very secretive about things that went on in the prison. I always wanted to make them think that I was okay. I got this.
Right.
Don't worry about me. I'm fine.
Right.
And that's kind of how our family was. We just smiled and, just made
Yeah.
everything okay and don't talk about the bad times or the pain. But that ended up being a blessing out in Arizona because Arizona is a very wealthy state, so they could afford to have good therapists. I attended adults molested as children. I was able to get a lot of good therapy and a lot of good college classes and courses. I was able to start Women Against Violence group that the governor's office of Arizona got involved in. And I had to start helping battered women because I was seeing this was the norm in there. Most
Mm-hmm.
of these women were beaten and battered. Most of them did not even know how to be mothers. And I was able to navigate being a mother and having a close bond with my children through bars for
Wow.
36 years. And we are still the best of friends to this day. My grandchildren that my daughter had, they were raised coming to visit me in prison.
Wow.
And we are very close to this day.
So when your mom sent some of your siblings to Arizona, did
Mhm.
your children go with them?
They did not.
Okay.
They were still in school. My daughter was still in school.
Sure.
So she went to school. They would fly her out to visit me,
Wow.
bring her and visit me. My son could not visit me after he was 5. His father would not allow him to come to the prison
Mm.
any longer until he was 16. And
Okay, wait. His Oh, right. His father is not the co-defendant.
No.
Got it.
Oh
Okay,
gosh,
right,
no.
right.
Mm-mm.
Okay. It's
Mm-mm.
like, wait a minute. That
Yeah.
guy gets no decision-making
Oh,
power.
yes, 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 yeah. So his father would not allow to come to visit, but he did come.
But that's interesting. Sorry, I have to pause there. He wouldn't let your son see you, but he would let your daughter, or he didn't
Yes.
get a voice in that.
My daughter ended up staying with my mother after she
Okay.
graduated from high school. So she lived there, but she did live in the neighborhood with him and her brother because she was familiar. That's where she
Yeah,
grew up. That's where she was,
sure.
she was born there. I mean, she was born in Springfield, but she was like just a few months old when we moved to the Kansas City area.
Okay.
So we had this house built, and that's where she grew up. She had great friends there. I had great friends there, and they really supported her and helped her through
Mm,
this. And she was best friends with their daughters. So, and they're like sisters to this day.
that's amazing.
And so I knew that she would be good. She would be okay there. She would be happy going to school with all of her friends that she was used to.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then she ended up moving down to Springfield where my mother was and family.
Okay.
And so she ended up living there and coming to visit all the time and started college there and then finished at the university in Kansas City. But yeah, she's an amazing woman. She's the executive director of Mother's Refuge, a home for mothers and their babies that are homeless and don't have any family, or family kicks them out and they don't want them because they're pregnant. So
Wow.
we are a family of helping others. My mother was the same way. As a matter of fact, my mother, because of what she did, going by the railroad tracks and under the bridges to help families that were homeless and didn't have food or clothing, that saved my life when another contract was put out on me, which is in the book. So you will
Gosh.
see how years before this contract was even thought of, my mother, it was being orchestrated then to end up saving my life years later. So, yes.
Don't you think God is just like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till you see what's going to happen next?
Yes. So you're going to, yeah, when the light finds us, is going to take you through some tears, some laughter. It's going to take you on a journey that very few women ever go on, but it's going to take you through a journey that's also going to hopefully touch your life in some way to help, to make you see how wonderful you really are, how there's nothing, absolutely nothing that women cannot overcome. We are the rock, we are the foundation of the family,
Yes.
and we can hold that family together and we can thrive with or without husbands and boyfriends. And nothing against men. I'm not there. I'm not bashing men in any way because I know,
Unless they're a-holes like the
yes,
ones that you
yes,
connected with. Like, oh
yes.
my gosh.
Absolutely. Because of this book, I have ran into men that I've found that are just cry whenever they hear about this. And
Right.
they see their mothers in this book.
Mm,
And so it's very painful for them. And they have all this stuff that's coming to surface and they're getting therapy for it now.
sure.
And they said, Judy, you might have meant for this to be for women, but men are seeing their sisters or their mothers or their
Mm,
aunts in it.
beautiful.
And they can relate to that. So,
Sure.
that makes me feel good to know that
Yeah.
both genders are going to benefit from this.
Yes.
Um, but on the contract in prison, I ended up taking care of that myself. I just want everybody to know I went in prison very angry, very scared, because it's a very
Sure.
foreign land,
I bet.
very different kinds of language,
Mm,
uh, different wording that means you don't know what it means until you're there for a while and you figure out what the definition is.
wow.
And your kindness is taken for weakness. So you have to figure out how you're going to navigate this foreign country that you've never been in before. So I was able to do that, but I had to first stand my ground and
Mm,
let them know who I was because I was smiley, I was friendly, I was always wanting to help somebody because I was well taken care of. So, can I buy you this? Can I get you that? But that is taken for weakness. You
mm,
cannot be weak in prison.
no.
And so, whenever I found out about the contract, then I had to do what was necessary to save my life before, because she was known for carrying a shank, which is a prison knife, and she was a career criminal, so she knew the ins and outs of prison.
Mm.
So I had to take care of the situation before she took care of me. And so that established with general population, as sweet and as nice as she looks, she can be horrendous
Right.
on the other side of her.
Don't F with Judy.
That's right. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Because if you do, bitches,
That's right.
here's what's going to happen.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But it was, something that I had to establish because I was a
For
life,
sure.
I was one of the stabilizers, what they called us in prisons. They would put us on troubled dorms and try to stabilize that dorm and use us in those ways. So you had to be a strong lifer.
Wow. Okay. So they use you as a stabilizer because of your depth of character and because the length of your sentence.
Sentient, correct. They feel
Okay.
like we have nothing to lose.
Right.
So we will do whatever necessary. We want to make our surroundings peaceful
Right.
and as normal as possible.
Okay.
If normal can be in prison, and it can be, you have to find your normal.
Sure. Sure. That's fascinating because you're powerful. Do they do that in men's prisons?
Oh yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, they do. And they always want to remind you. The first thing they told me when I came to prison is we have to break you down and build you back up. And I thought, you have got to be kidding. You think I'm not broke down as far as I
Right.
could go? Are you kidding
What
me?
have you been paying attention?
Yeah, yeah. So, of course, that made me that much angrier.
Right.
But you know what, Wendy? I figured out that nobody cares if you're angry in there because everybody's angry.
Mm,
So, what can you do that's different?
mm,
Because nobody cares if you're angry. You're the only one that's hurting yourself,
right.
with your own anger. I decided, okay, you can either get bitter and stay bitter, or you can get
Mm-hmm.
better and grow.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up getting better. Like I said, I got the therapy. I started programs for women and children. I became a certified paralegal.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, and that's like anger is where justice is born. So
Right.
you did such a beautiful job of saying you can be bitter and you can stay bitter. So you please get angry. Please,
Yes.
we just
Yes.
had Bronwyn Schweigert on the podcast a few
Mm-hmm.
months ago, and her podcast, she has a podcast as well called Angry at the Right Things. So anger is good.
Yes.
It's like we said, it's where justice is born.
Yes.
Staying angry is no
Right.
longer in service to your mission.
Exactly. Exactly. Anger can motivate you
Yeah,
in the right direction. It's like a fuel.
sure.
They keep telling me I'm going to die in prison and wanting to remind me I'm going to die in prison. No, I'm not, and I'm going to
That's
show
right.
you. So I started fighting in 1982. I was in prison longer than I was in the free world. So that was the world I ended up being accustomed to. And so I started putting together clemencies to the governor because I'd exhausted all my appeals. Excuse me, I'm so sorry.
No, I'm actually like, I'm always such a fan whenever I need to clear my throat. I'm like, ooh, something good's coming. Get your pencils out. I'm gonna write this down. It's so good.
Yes,
I just like what for you, like what
yes.
needs to be heard? What do you need to hear yourself say? That's what every time I'm clearing my throat. It's like, where am I silencing myself?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
what do I need
Yes,
to hear myself say? So
very
what
true.
What do you need to
So
hear yourself say?
I want to hear myself say that attorneys aren't taught how to put clemencies together
Oh,
to the governor in law school. So I had to learn how to navigate that process. And it took me going through 6 governors being denied when 3 parole boards through those governors all recommended I be released.
wow.
Yes. Parole boards that they put together themselves.
Parole boards were saying yes, and
Yes,
governors said no.
correct.
Oh, my word.
Correct.
How many
Yes.
things do you have to fix around here?
I know,
Gosh.
kid. And then there was a governor in 2000 that was going to release me. And it's so sad to say that he and his son died in a plane crash in October, and I was getting released in November.
Oh,
So there was another hurdle, and
oh
it
my
was just
gosh.
horrifying for his family to lose their father and their brother.
Mhm.
And then for our state, because he was a great governor and he had the compassion, he had the empathy for people incarcerated that shouldn't have been there.
Mhm.
But I must also say that the prosecutor that prosecuted me, he ended up being my biggest advocate.
Oh, that's
Yes.
beautiful.
Yes, I was shocked that he did that, but in the book, it'll tell you how we came about connecting again
Oh,
and
good.
how he navigated getting the message to them that I should be released.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to get my hands on this book.
Yes. And then finally, after I perfected the clemency process, but during these years, I also helped other lifers put their
Sure.
clemencies together. And because I wanted them to go home to their families. It was important to me. These women shouldn't have been there to begin with.
Mm.
And one of my other friends just got released in December of 2024 after 38 years.
Amazing. Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Yes. So, and we worked through the governor's office to get that done, and it was a joy. And some of the people I worked on their clemencies, they got out before I did, but
Mhm.
it was a joy. One of them is now an attorney, and her and I are still like sisters to this day. And whenever she came in, she was young. And so I kind of what we call took her under my wing
Mhm.
because she was cute and I didn't want things happening to her while she
Mhm.
was, in there. And
Yeah.
she had a long sentence. So we became protectors also,
Sure.
or other lifers came in and had long sentences. So it was very rewarding doing this work and helping these women go home to their families and their children. And then whenever I came home, I would talk to families that had long timers coming home, back home to them,
Sure.
and explain what to expect,
Yeah.
how to be gingerly with them, how to be patient, and some things to expect from the offender when they came home.
Yeah.
Whenever I did get my clemency, and let me tell you, Wendy, it was the 7th governor, God's number
Wow. Yeah.
completion,
That's
that
gorgeous.
did the clemency in the first year of their political career.
Mm.
And that's never heard of. They wait till the very last day of their 4 or 8 years before
Mm.
they would ever release an offender. And I was and 6 months later, I was pardoned. So you'll have to read about that joy and
Right.
what we went through. And I do have a website
Please.
people can go to, and they can see all kinds of pictures and different things and on there and any upcoming things that we have going on. So I will tell you what that website is
Oh
before
my
we
gosh.
close.
I could talk to you all day long. I have to have you back because I have 8,000 questions
Oh, good.
because
Write them down.
I will because I want to know like what happened next
I know.
because
I
right?
know.
Because
Yeah.
that oh my gosh, you're
Mm.
so fascinating and delightful and lovely and
Oh, thank you.
engaging. And I love the way that this experience has impacted you. And I love the way that this experience has not impacted you.
Thank you.
And you're so generous in allowing conversation and inquiry, even from 11-year-olds.
Yes, I
I'll
love
have
it.
her think of some more questions as well.
Yes.
But I absolutely would love to have you back. I have so much more that I want to talk about with you because we're continuously at the beginning of our story,
Yes.
right? Like another
Yes,
year
we are.
passes and it's like, oh, I'm just getting
Yes.
started. Like now I
Yes.
have more information. I'm doing this as like 4.0, 5.0, 6.0. Here we go. And it's
Absolutely.
so phenomenal the way that I'm witnessing you be a good steward
Thank
of
you.
your time,
Thank you.
of your story, of your information, of your days, and the
Mhm.
fact it's just so yummy. Like I said, I don't want to like keep you here all the days telling you how I could talk to you for all the days. Tell everybody where they can find and follow you, how they can get the book, and then I will tell them how many more minutes they have to wait until we get you back on the podcast.
Okay. So you can go to my website at judyannhenderson.com. That's where more information will be put in order to let you know what's coming up next, the future. We're hoping to do a movie
Of
that's
course,
been talked about already.
it has to be a
So,
movie.
yeah. Yeah, there's a lot in 36 years that happened. And what I'm doing today, I'm still working with an agency for an agency that I came and spoke at, and they said, "Why aren't you angry? Why aren't you better at all this that happened to you?" I said, "Why would I waste my energy? Why would I waste my time being angry? I'm happy. There isn't a day that I'm not happy. I'm grateful, so humbled to be here in your world, in the free world where everything has changed. Oh my gosh. I mean, we could talk about that. How I
Right.
know how to use a cell phone. There's just so much about your world that was so foreign to me. It was like being dropped off into another world again.
Right.
And so yeah, I could talk to you too, Wendy,
Oh
forever.
my gosh, you're such a queen. Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you for being here. I cannot wait until next time. Thank you for everything.
You're welcome, Wendy. Thank you for having me.
Ooh, anytime. I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. As always, any links or notes mentioned can be found at phineaswrighthouse.com in the podcast section of our site or in the show notes below. And if you haven't connected with me personally, come find me on Instagram at Phineas Wrighthouse and let me know you listened to this episode. I'd love to get to know you. Thank you for sharing this time with me. I know your days are full, and I'm really grateful that you chose to spend some of your precious time right here. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any of these delightful conversations. I'll see you next week.